loud.
Ja, det bra.
Du har den her.
Ja. Får du sette i gang?
Welcome to this lightning talk here about new Nordics AI. Last week, we got the news that the Nordic Council of Ministers are funding a strategic initiative called New Nordics AI. The objective of this initiative is to accelerate AI adoption and innovation across the Nordic and Baltic region. Here to talk more about this regional initiative is Marianne Wilhelmsen, State Secretary of the Ministry of Digitalization and Public Governance, and Fredrik Syversen, Director for Strategy and Business Development at ICT Norway, and one of the partners in this new initiative. Fredrik, tell us more about New Nordics AI.
I will. First of all, thank you. As you said, my name is Fredrik Syversen. I work daily for ICT Norway / IKT Norge, which is the Norwegian translation. We are the public. We're not the public, we're the private interest organization for technology companies here in Norway. So with that said, this project started a little over a year ago with interest from the Nordic Council of Ministers. Started off in Sweden with our partner AI Sweden, and then took it further with partners all over the Nordics. And as you mentioned, last week we got the confirmation from our funding partner, the Nordic Council of Ministers with Nordic Innovation, that we have secured the initial funding for getting started. And this is a project that is supported by all the governments all over the Nordics. And it's also, we also have to mention that by time we expect all the Baltic countries to be a part of the Nordic AI Center. So this is a little bit of the backdrop. I think all Nordic countries are seen as mature digitally. And that is, of course, very true. But if you look at how we look at the global AI index, the picture is not so pleasant to look at. We are actually dropping from 23 to 24. There's lots of reasons to that, and I guess State Secretary can probably dive into some of the reasons. But I think the lesson learned here is that we are pretty mature from the get-go. And when the AI wave hit us, we kind of didn't took it as seriously as we should. And the opportunity is not missed, but we have to speed up. And that's the reason behind the center. And at least we that come from Europe, we have been bombarded with different reports on, from the European Commission on the state of business in the European area. And it's not so pleasant to read that either. And those of you who have read the Draghi report, we know that the competitiveness of Europe needs to be sped up. And that also goes from Norway. So that's kind of the backdrop as well. And why the Nordics? So Nordics combined with the Baltics, almost a little over 30 million inhabitants, 10th largest economy in the world. That's without the Baltics, to be honest. But still, it gives an opportunity not to be missed, both in terms of the size, but not the least in terms of what we can present to the world when it comes from Nordic values, Nordic opportunities, Nordic innovation, so forth, so on. And what are we going to achieve? So give me a hands up when I'm reaching my 5 minutes here. But I think what we are really looking forward to, and really are eager to, is to speed up adoption. We need all our businesses, we need all our public sector to at least have some strategy concerning AI. And that's kind of the raison d'etre, and that's what we are really aiming at. And we have projects in the get-go that will actually achieve this. We need stronger both national and Nordic leadership. And that is also one of the reasons behind this Nordic project. And of course, when you look at it from inside out, from Norway to the Nordics, all of our businesses are mostly in all Nordic countries. They are led Nordically. Their internal matrix is almost always Nordic. Have to say, all the headquarters are not always in Norway. They have to be in Sweden or Copenhagen for some reason. But the opportunity here is there. And we are ready to launch. So, this coming fall, October, we are gathering in Helsinki. You're all welcome. The Finland is heading the Nordic Council of Ministers that half year. Hence, we're in Helsinki. And the launch will be there with, hopefully, a lot of ministers. We have an election before that, so let's see. But that's where we're going to start. So, just to end up with this slide, that if you're interested to work with us, these are some of the people that you can contact, depending on the country. But I think all of us are interested to hear from you. So that's my 5-minute pitch to why you should be a part of the Nordic AI Center. So, Katrine, back to you.
Thank you, Fredrik. Marianne, why are Norway and the other ministries funding this center?
Thank you, and thank you for the invitation. And of course, also just want to take the opportunity to thank everyone here for coming to this year's IGF and engaging in all the various discussions. Well, first of all, we need to accelerate the AI adoption, and we have a strong and long history of collaborating with our neighbors. Not just because they're our neighbors, but of course because we have a lot in common, as Fredrik says. We have cultural ties. We share the same democratic values: freedom of speech, transparency, human rights, and working together to be able to share experiences and create arenas where we can collaborate, I think will be very important for us to be able to accelerate and speed up the adoption. So when it comes to this initiative, it's a really important initiative, and I am very, very glad that it got the funding.
In terms of the Nordic cooperation, is this particularly important in these days, both towards Europe and the world in general?
I would say so, and of course, we see it. This IGF is also a testament of our strong ties. This year, later today, we're having a reception together with the Nordic Council. Just a little bit later today, I'm having lunch with my colleagues from the Nordics and the Baltics over at the hotel just by here. So definitely an important time, of course, with everything happening around in the world. And I think when it comes to AI, we have a lot we can collaborate on. The language models, for example, ensuring that we have large language models that can that are built on our languages and also our kind of contexts. We need to get, as Fredrik says, the small and the medium-sized companies to be able to adapt, building competence in all areas. We see it's a huge challenge when it comes to that, to having knowledge and competence on how to adopt AI, especially in a safe and secure way in the small and medium-sized businesses, as well as in the public sector, especially. So working together on initiatives like this can help mitigate those risks and also unlock some of the large opportunities that we have.
Fredrik?
Yeah, I just want to emphasize that. I mean, the Nordics, at least we like to pride ourselves in having shared value sets. And shared the business mindset as well. We can always argue that there's differences between us. But I think from a European perspective, you would say that if you look up north, where the Nordics lie, if you look at the map, is where much of the innovation, if you look at the fastest growing innovation, some of the indexes will point north when it comes to Europe. And I think that opportunity is not to be missed, especially coming from Norway. Norway, has to be said, is not a part of the European Union, hence, but we are as close as it gets, to put it like that. We're inside the internal market. But from that perspective also, of us coming from Norway, we can piggyback on our Nordic neighbors to influence what is happening in the European Commission and Europe at large. But also I think if you look at, there's some new conflict lines here. It has to be said, over the Atlantic that has not been there before. So in that perspective also, I think working more on the Nordic level is very much politically correct these days. And that being said, I think also it makes total business sense. And I think that is kind of the fuel that we are needing to get this engine off the ground and get this plane in the air, so to say. And I think we also have opportunities inside the European R&D environment, being kind of a setup already for being a part of different European initiatives, especially, of course, on the AI, which, if you look at all the numbers that have been flying around, it's billions of euros that's going to be heading not our particular way, but going to AI, and we need to take our fair share of that coming from the Nordics. That's a given.
And I just also want to say, like earlier, you showed us some numbers on where Norway, for example, stand. And there are definitely challenges. But we also had, in our government, we recently launched our digitalization strategy. And one of the follow-ups from that is that we have these governmental digital forums where the ministers come together. And just a few weeks ago, we had AI on the agenda there, and we have had Oxford Insights coming and present the global index on AI readiness. And we saw that Norway is not as bad as your numbers show. We're quite far high up, and one of the reasons for that is our strong public sector and how digitalized it is. And I think when we bring together all the Nordic countries, we have different perspectives, we have different challenges, and we have different, what can I say, like, stuff that we do great, where we accelerate, and when we bring those together, we can all kind of learn from each other and build and increase, get up on those numbers.
This center is called the New Nordics AI, so it's also including the Baltic countries, even not if they're not part already, but they will be. How do you think the Baltic states can strengthen this cooperation?
Well, like I just said, it will add added value. We see that the Baltics countries, they have shown a lot like agility in adopting technology, and I think that they also have a strong public sector and has shown that the transformation in the public sector as well, and that they have a lot of efforts in accelerating that. So I think we have a lot to learn from each other. And then also, of course, the talent pool that we can bring in. So being close and collaborating also with the Baltics, I think it's a nice, like, it adds value to this Nordic initiative.
I just want to add on that. I mean, everybody knows of the Estonian miracle, so to say, that they're kind of leading Europe in some parts at least, and we all know Bolt, of course, coming out of Estonia, which we already use. But on that note, I mean, innovation that comes out of the Baltics are kind of top. And the possibility to kind of link into that and to use that as a fuel for further new Nordic collaboration, so to say, that's going to be extremely important. And I can't wait to get those partners on board, because that will really set a new agenda for how we can work both inside the EU, but also towards global interests. And I think we also need to kind of acknowledge that what's happening in the Baltics here are super important. Especially, it's easy to forget Lithuania and Latvia, but also these countries have great innovations coming out of their countries. And as you said, they're also like big on public sector. And it shouldn't be too big, but big is okay. And I think to draw upon that is also interesting. Of course, there's some language there as well. Finnish and Estonian is very closely linked. There's something other with Latvia and Lithuania. Scandinavia is closely linked, so working on those language models, which also kind of a side project to this center, is also getting better if we get the Baltics on board.
Yeah. You mentioned the Norwegian strategy, the digitalization strategy. What are the key priorities for the Norwegian government in terms of AI and digitalization?
Well, first of all, we need AI that we can trust. And of course, when you see, I know I'm talking a lot about the public sector here, so I'll get on to the business sector as well. But when we see that we adopt AI in the public sector, trust is essential because it's our most important currency. And we've had municipalities in Norway leveraging AI and creating reports as decision-making foundation, and it went wrong, to say it least. And we need to learn from those mistakes, and ensure that those kind of usage of AI does not happen. But in Norway, we see AI as a tool to nationally, secure our welfare state and secure equal opportunities for all. We need to work more efficiently in order to keep the level up. And we also see it as a tool for the digital and green transformation. So those are the most kind of important things that are also reflected on the agenda here at IGF right now. And of course, we are implementing the AI Act. We're going to be ready at the same time as the rest of the Europe next summer. At least we're working as fast as we can to enable that, and have put in place a lot of infrastructure, the work on the large language models, and what do you call it again? High-tech computing? No.
The law.
Yeah, tungregningskraft.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. But at least computing with powers, of course. And we want it to, we've created AI Norway, which is like the government's AI arena. And we wanted to help accelerate adoption and not be something like a barrier, but more help.
Makes sense. Fredrik?
I just want to say that, I mean, from a business perspective, I think if you don't get on the AI train, you're about to lose your business. Some companies, especially in my business, which is software business, if you're into packaged software, you have delivered the same mail all over the years. Some of these things can be done like in 2 seconds, not 2 seconds, but maybe 2 minutes. So you need to change your models, and you need to change your business models fast, because we don't want to be left behind. I think that's super, super important. And I don't think we kind of wake up and kind of face that reality. So that's going to be very important for this center to get that awareness out. On the public sector side, I agree totally. I mean, all the Nordics, I think those for all Europe, what we're heading at is less money and less people. That's not a good combination. And I think we have left with kind of one tool in the toolbox, that's technology. And technology with AI is something other than just technology. And if you look at the healthcare sector, the opportunities there are so great. And if we kind of put that value set in the bottom or in the top, if you like, to create those opportunities or that solutions based on AI, that is something really can drive our public sector to be not only trustworthy, because that's super important, but also that we trust that the service delivery is going to be there. Because that's also going to be an issue where you have less people. So there's a lot of issues that is concerning AI, but also concerning the society at large.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that, of course, that AI is only as good as the data that you train it on. And I think that when it comes to Nordic countries, and I can mainly speak for Norway, we have a lot of high-quality data, especially from the health sector, and having initiatives and infrastructures or platforms where we can share that kind of data as far as we can. I think that would be very important, not only for the public sector and for the healthcare, for example, but also for businesses going forward.
Yeah, that brings me on to the next question, and that is, you're representing public, you're private. How can public and private maybe cooperate better, especially in terms of data sharing?
Well, I think that these kind of arenas are one of the best starting points that we have to ensure collaboration. And to have contact points where we can get together and talk and see the challenges, and also what kind of what is the status on the regulations? What do we need to improve? Where are the barriers for us to be able to share, for example, the data, or to accelerate within small and medium-sized businesses?
Well, I just want to mention, I mean, if you're coming from Europe, you may be familiar with the data spaces that the European Union are trying to provide these days. It's going to be one in energy, it's going to be especially one in health coming up in the next 3-4 years, and then so on and so forth. These are spaces that are going to create just to share data. And if the Nordics can work together on that one inside the European health spaces, that will be an opportunity that we have to take. Because this is something that's going to be mandatory for all our countries, even Norway, though we're outside the European Union. Health is first, energy is second. These are 2 projects that we already are working on in the Nordic AI Center. So that is something that just needs to be done in the Nordic framework, so to say.
And I think when it comes to, for example, data in the health ministry, which is not my ministry, I know that there are a lot of processes and regulation work going on right now. In my ministry, we are working with the new data sharing law that will come later this year, hopefully, and also a new data prioritization kind of council that would help us map out which kind of data we should prioritize to share first.
Thank you so much. So what's next for the center now, Fredrik?
It's, I think, summer holiday. I wouldn't say that, but we're looking forward to October, of course. So we need to get our things together. We're looking for board members. We're looking for the initial setup. We're actually looking for a managing director at these days for the NEA Center. If you want to work out of Stockholm, be the GM of the Nordic AI Center, please look at our website, New Nordics AI, and apply, because that's what we are looking forward now, is to get the managing director on board. That's going to be the first step.
Thank you, Marianne, Fredrik, and good luck with New Nordics AI.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.